The moments right after you give your teen a reminder, do you find yourself holding your breath because you're not sure which version of your teen you're going to get? Sometimes it lands fine without problems, but other times they go quiet, freeze, or get really emotional. So you've tried changing your tone, softening it, doing the best you can to help your teen remember, but you still feel stuck between giving reminders and watching them forget. And what makes this so exhausting is not knowing how to respond when these emotions show up. In this video, I'll walk you through the 5 common mistakes parents make, often with the best of intentions, that actually escalate these moments. I'll explain why they happen and what helps instead. My name is Dr. Michael Chayati, aka Dr. Michael. I'm a pediatrician helping parents of emotionally sensitive teens with ADHD rebuild connection and instill confidence through a shared language of intuitive, science-backed frameworks. You may be wondering, how can a simple reminder trigger so much emotion even when I phrase it calmly? Think about it from your teen's perspective. When reminders pile up, on top of the stress they're already carrying, their brain may think, here are more ways I'm going to fail again. That's the disconnect. Your teen feels overwhelmed and they don't have a good system that helps them remember. This is when your teen might go quiet or freeze and get emotional. The part of their brain responsible for language and planning goes offline. But there is a better way to respond in this moment. But it's probably not what most parents expect. Before we talk about what actually helps, let's talk about the 5 most common mistakes parents make. Mistake number 1. They give more reminders, thinking it offers clarity. In their mind, more reminders equals more support. For the teen, though, each reminder feels like proof they're failing again. This triggers shame, which overwhelms their nervous system, making it even harder to access their working memory. Mistake number 2. They push the teen to verbally process too soon. For example, what's going on in your head? Talk to me, use your words. The parent wants to connect with their teen, which is wonderful, but this approach often causes more disconnect because the teen feels pressure to explain something they cannot put into words just yet. So what usually happens is silence, shrugging, or a vague response like, I don't know. Mistake number 3, they try to immediately fix the emotion. For example, you're overreacting, you just need to calm down. From the teen's point of view, this type of language invalidates what they're experiencing, even if that's not the intent. Now, in addition to feeling pressure from the reminder itself, there is now added pressure from their reaction to it. Mistake number 4, they interpret their teen's behavior as attitude or lack of effort. Sometimes this is said out loud, other times it's just felt and teens pick up on it. This happens because parents are exhausted and their brain is scrambling for an explanation. From the teen's point of view, their internal struggle gets labeled as a character flaw, and over time they lose trust, become more defensive, and are less willing to ask for help in the future. Mistake number 5, they switch into problem-solving mode too fast. For example, let's think through practical steps. What's your plan? Now, these are fantastic questions. In fact, these types of questions help teach your teen the skills to become problem solvers and gain confidence. The problem here is not the questions themselves, but rather the timing. If you notice yourself in any of these examples, please know this. You're not failing. It just means you're responding to stress using the tools you've always relied on. The problem isn't what you're trying to teach, it's when. Here's the key principle that changes everything. Lead with connection, problem solve second. When your teen feels overwhelmed, the part of the brain responsible for emotion takes over, and when that happens, the parts responsible for language and planning go offline. That's why in these moments, they can't explain what's wrong or think through a plan. And even simple questions feel like pressure. I like to think of it this way. Imagine your teen is learning to drive and you're sitting in a passenger seat as their co-pilot. Sometimes the problem isn't that they don't know where to go. Sometimes the problem is that the engine is overheating. When their emotional engine is overheating, giving more directions, instructions, or reminders won't help. The only helpful move is to first help the engine cool down. Connection first doesn't require long conversations. The intent is to communicate this principle. You're safe. I'm not here to push right now. It can be even as simple as, I can tell there's a lot on your mind. We don't have to solve it this second. Another example, I can tell there's a lot going on right now. We'll figure out together, just not right now. This space is what allows their emotional engine to cool. Once the temperature of their emotional engine drops, even a little, something important happens. Your teen regains access to planning, memory, and problem solving. And this is when teaching skills can actually help. Now you can help your teen create a plan or discover effective ways to remember differently. For example, I have some ideas that can help remembering easier. Would you like to talk about them now or later? Now that their vehicle is back on the road, this is the time you can aid in directions, suggestions, or teaching your teen how to navigate on their own by programming reminders into their GPS. I find that relating the entire process back to the driving analogy is incredibly powerful because it's highly intuitive and visual. If you want to see how everything we've talked about fits in the bigger picture, there's a link to the visual roadmap in the description below. In summary, when reminders turn into shutdowns, the goal isn't to figure out everything in that moment. The goal is to lead with connection and problem solve second. This sequence is what reduces meltdowns and builds independence over time. And depending on which part your teen is struggling with the most, here are 2 different next steps. If your teen tends to shut down emotionally after reminders, this video on the left goes deeper into how to respond in these moments. And once their emotional engine is cooled, this video on the right shows how to help them remember without constant reminders by using their environment. All right, my friend, stay encouraged, and I'll see you in the next video.